Hello, this is Yogeshwar again, and I'm back with another interesting topic. And as you would have listened to my earlier video on the power of Om Namah Shivaya, which is a great mantra, and its greatness has been described in the Skanda Purana, which is the Purana related to the son of Lord Shiva, Skanda. This topic today also will discuss a very important day which is called Shivratri. Shiva means, of course, the god Shiva, and Ratri is night. So it's actually not day, it's night. So this topic is also coming from the great Purana, which is the Skanda Purana, and it's related to a remedy. Like I've mentioned, that a lot of remedies are from the ancient scriptures, and a lot of remedies can be found inside the Puranas as well. So we have to connect as Vedic astrologers to first understanding the planets and the planetary position and the charts and the technicalities which have been described by the great sages. And when we talk about remedies, there are certain remedies which are mentioned in the great Puranas as well. So today we are going to be discussing about Shivratri and the power of Shivratri, and how the power of Shivratri can be used as a remedy for human beings. And this tale is coming through the words of sage Lomesh, who's describing the power of Shivratri in the Skanda Purana. So this is how it goes. Sage Lomesh was talking to or describing tales to other sages who had assembled, and in one of these tales he mentions about a widow, a Brahmin widow, who developed a relationship with another person, and she gave birth to a son who was named as Dussah, D-U-S-S-A-H. You can pronounce it, Dussah. And this gentleman, Dussah, had all the bad qualities. And he used to gamble a lot, he used to drink a lot, he was a thief, and he was even a murderer. So the story described by, or the tale described by sage Lomesh goes this way, that one day, or rather one night, Dussah went to a Shiva temple, and the intention of going to the temple was to commit robbery, because as you know, that temples have a lot of gold ornaments and stuff there which are put on the deities. So he thought maybe he'll go and steal some money, some ornaments, something from the temple, and he chose a Shiva temple this time. And this Shiva temple actually was celebrating Shivratri. Now, sage Lomesh describes in the Skanda Purana that the Shivratri is celebrated every month, and that Shivratri is celebrated. The day is the 14th day of the dark half of the month, and the dark half is when the moon is waning. That's called the Krishna Paksha, people who are familiar with Sanskrit. So when the moon is waning, and it wanes for 15 days, and it waxes for 15 days. So when it's waning and it's the 14th day, that is the day where that day is dedicated to the worship of Lord Shiva. And that night, the 14th night, is called Shivratri. Like we've explained, Shiva means the god Shiva, and Ratri means night. So the 14th day is dedicated, and the 14th day of the dark moon, or the dark half of the month, or the Krishna Paksha, or when the moon is waning, is dedicated to Lord Shiva, and that night is celebrated as Shivratri, or the night of Shiva. And according to sage Lomesh, in the Skanda Purana, people's sins gets destroyed if you worship Lord Shiva during the day and celebrate and worship Shivratri, or the night of Shiva, on that night of Shivratri, and that comes every month. And of course, the Mahashivratri comes only once a year, but the Shivratri comes every month. So the story goes that Dusa went to the Shiva temple on the 14th day, and incidentally that happened to be the 14th day of the dark moon, and that night was being celebrated as Shivratri, and he entered the temple with the intention of committing a robbery or theft, and he saw a lot of people assembled there who were celebrating Shivratri, or the night of Shiva, because it was the 14th day. And he did not get the opportunity to steal anything from the temple because there were so many people who were gathered there. So he stayed awakened for the whole night, waiting for an opportunity to steal the stuff or to steal temple property, but he could not. So how does he pass time? He passed his time listening to the divine stories of Lord Shiva, which was being narrated by the temple priest. And just because he stayed awake all night and he listened to the tales of Lord Shiva all night on the 14th night, which was the Shivratri, he got cleared of all his bad deeds and sins. And it is described in the Skanda Purana by sage Lomesh that he took birth, his next birth, in a royal family because of his two good deeds. One, he stayed awake for the whole night of Shivratri, and then the second was he listened to the tales of Lord Shiva, the glory of Lord Shiva. And so he got born as in the royal family in his next birth, and he was born to a king, and he himself became a king when he grew up, and he was called Vichitravirya. And again, because of his past deed, Vichitravirya, the king, was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. So this was the story, and this was described in the Skanda Purana, like I've just mentioned. So there have been instances where people have followed worshipping Lord Shiva on the 14th day of the dark moon period, which is the Krishna Paksha, when the moon is waning. And they have celebrated the Shiva's night, not by staying awake all night, but by maintaining a fast during the day and then praying to Lord Shiva in the Shivratri. And they have come out with a lot of their problems in lives, because as the great Purana says that by doing this you can clear yourself of your sins. And what is Vedic astrology? It's nothing but basically a representation of our karma. Our bad deeds come in as problems in our lives, and our good deed comes as rewards in our lives. So I would consider this as a great remedy, and I wanted to bring this up to my viewers, that this is also can be considered as a great remedy. And the purpose of these videos is to go down into the basics, go into the scriptures, read the scriptures, and see where we can find solutions to our problems. And this could be one solution, like I said, based on experiences of certain people who have worshipped Shiva during this 14th day and worship Shiva, or maintained a fast during this 14th day and worship Shiva during the 14th night, which is the Shivratri, have been able to clear themselves of a lot of bad karma and have been able to solve a lot of their problems. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will soon see you soon. Thank you.